What's up everybody, Extramillion here once again with Totally Sick Final Fantasy VII Edition, and this time we are making preparations to head to the Temple of the Ancients, where Sephiroth is. First we have to go back to the Gold Saucer and get an item called the Keystone from Dio. In order to win it, he makes you participate in the battle arena. You don't have to actually win any battles here, I just let myself get killed. Afterwards, he gives you the keystone anyway, but then it is later stolen by Cait Sith and given to the Turks. And that's when you find out that Cait Sith is actually a Shin-ra operative in disguise who is controlling a robot body. Before we get to any of that, we have to once again fidget uncontrollably on our date with Aerith. So there we see Cait Sith scheming, and then we have to go chase him down. So then we make our way towards the Temple of the Ancients, and wouldn't you know it, the Turks are already there, but they got their asses handed to them by Sephiroth. So we go in to try to stop him instead. Now I should warn anyone who's attempting this, once you enter the Temple of the Ancients, you cannot back out back onto the world map, so obviously make a save outside before you enter. Coming up is one of the two bosses that are in this area. Right after you talk to Sephiroth and he tells you about his grand plan, you have to fight an enemy called the Red Dragon. Sephiroth's main plan is to basically hurt the planet, which will regenerate itself with a cosmic energy force called the Life Stream, and if he hurts it enough, it'll try to use a bunch of the Life Stream energy to regenerate itself, and he plans to be at the center of the injury to gather all the energy. So here's the first boss, Red Dragon. He has 6,800 HP, and the success of this battle pretty much depends on you getting the first turn, and then casting Big Guard. He's not too tough if you're not under Big Guard, except for this move called Red Dragon Breath. That move is not survivable unless you are under Big Guard. And then for the rest of the battle, basically just have Cid sense him and then use physical attacks, limit breaks, and the Trine spell, or Aqua Lung if you want to. Magic does quite a bit of damage to him. He's also pretty slow. You shouldn't have to worry too much. He's not a very difficult boss, at least not compared to the next boss. Funny enough, the next boss that we'll fight is actually tougher than the last boss of this disc. So this is one of the first battles that we've actually used Cid in, and you'll get to see his limit break boost jump a few times. Obviously, because this enemy is a dragon, do not use beta on him because he will absorb the fire and it will heal him. Cloud has his level 3 limit breaks set right now, which means he'll be able to use Meteor Rain. It does around 700 or 800 damage, so that's pretty good at cutting the dragon's health down. Just make sure that you replenish Big Guard and all the barriers shortly after they go down, so he doesn't accidentally get anyone killed with Red Dragon Breath. And then once you're towards the end of the battle, you'll just do the same thing that we've always done, which is kill everyone off and then use Planet Protector on Aerith. Obviously, make sure that you always have enough HP or I'm sorry, MP to cast one Big Guard and one White Wind. Also, while you are in the Temple of the Ancients, you must make sure that you never use the rest command. Throughout the temple, there are several of these guys called the Ancients, and they will give you the option to buy stuff from them and then save. So they act sort of like a shop and a save point, and they also act as an inn where you can rest. But if you rest, you lose the Fury status, which is very important that at least Aerith not lose. Obviously, Cloud and Sid will lose their Fury status because this fight they have to end up dead. So once we use Meteor Rain this last time, that should put him pretty close to being dead. So a few more attacks, and then we'll start trying to work up towards using Planet Protector and then killing off Sid and Cloud. Immediately after you get done with this fight, since Cloud and Sid are dead, you'll want to get into a random battle and then use Pulse of Life to revive both of them. Because immediately after this, you'll be going into a battle with probably the toughest boss we'll have to fight thus far. So obviously you'll want everyone to be at full health. It'll be the same characters, Cloud, Sid, and Aerith. So he's dead, not too tough. So eventually they figure out that the black materia that Sephiroth is looking for is can only be accessed through a puzzle that can only be solved within the temple that makes the temple grow smaller. So if you were to solve it, you die. So that's why they use Cait Sith and his robot body to get the black materia out of there. So this is Demon Gate. He has 10,000 HP, and that's only one of the many annoying things about this boss. First of all, if you don't get the first turn, it's very likely that you'll die. None of the characters except Sid can really survive a unguarded rock drop, which is why you have to try to get a big guard up as soon as possible. And even then, you can see it still does a ton of damage. He has 10,000 HP, which means that time is not on your side, because the longer you fight against him, the worse off you'll be, especially if he gets a critical rock drop, if it turns into a critical hit, because that will one-shot kill any of your characters, so the longer you remain in battle with him, the higher he has a chance to do that. And if he does it against Aerith, then it's pretty much game over. He opened the battle with that move Cave In, which is good because it's his weakest attack. If he does Cave In or a rock drop against Sid, then you're good. If he does any other moves, with the exception of his charge up to do his main special attack, which is Demon Wall, or Demon Rush, it's pretty much guaranteed that you're going to lose. You just have to start over if he does any other moves other than those three. The previous battle against Red Dragon, you had a bit of leeway with what you could do as far as your moves go. This one, you pretty much have to make every turn count. Aerith will be everyone's main support. She'll be casting Big Guard and White Wind pretty much the whole battle. Sid will just be attacking and then using his limit break, since he does way more damage from the back row than Cloud does. Cloud's only real role is to heal when he can and use Meteor Rain when he can. Other than that, he's basically just a meat shield. The bad thing about Cloud is that it takes around 3 attacks for him to fully charge Meteor Rain, since it's a level 3 limit break instead of a level 1, and it takes even longer since he doesn't have Fury. And the other bad thing is that, as you can see, he has way less HP than Aerith and Sid do, which means most of the time he will just end up dead before you can actually use Meteor Rain, especially if Demon Gate decides that he wants to do a double attack. You'll pretty much want to have Big Guard active at all times. As soon as it is about to go away, you'll want to make sure that Big Guard is cast as the very last turn so that you can do it before he gets another attack. Some of the only good news about this fight is that usually if you can get this far into the battle where you establish a stable routine, then you've pretty much got it home free. You just have to kind of not mess up, because it is a very long battle. Normally the battle will, if it's going to go bad, it'll turn sour in the first couple of turns or so, usually after the first turn, where he will automatically kill Aerith. That move he just did is he rarely ever uses, called Petrify. It causes slow Petrify, which is a countdown. You have 30 seconds, and then the character will turn to stone, and you can't use them anymore. It can be cured with White Wind. Every time he sort of wriggles himself forward, that is his charging move. Immediately afterwards, he will use an attack called Demon Rush. So basically that charge move gives you sort of a free turn to do whatever you want. Your primary attacks in this battle are going to be physical attacks and limit breaks. Obviously, Meteor Rain is the biggest help. Demon Gate has incredibly high physical resistance, which as you can see is why none of the characters are really doing that much damage to him, and he also has an incredibly high, even ridiculously high, magical defense. If you were to use Aqua Lung, which is the most powerful magical attack we have access to, it would do barely over 100 damage. Which I guess is better than Cloud's 30 damage with his physical attack, but it's still not a whole lot, so expect this battle to take a while. Now another thing to note is that once you are under the Peerless status by using Planet Protector, you cannot alter your status in any way, so make sure that you do not have Slow Petrify on before you cast Planet Protector, because you will not be able to cure it, and you will lose before the time runs out. I learned that the hard way. He cast Slow Petrify on me with that Petrify move, and you can't use White Wind to get rid of it. Also, if you're wondering why the screen keeps fading to black like that, it's because the camera moves behind the enemy during Sid's boost jump, and since Demon Gate is obviously a big wall, you see nothing. He's also surprisingly agile for a giant piece of demonic masonry. He moves pretty quick. I mean, he's a lot faster than Red Dragon was, so he gets quite a few turns. I think pretty much the only reason he hasn't killed me thus far in this battle was because I spent about 3 hours fighting him and learning the timing that I needed to enter my attacks in, because more often than not I would either do Big Guard too soon or too late, and then he would just kill one of my characters, and then it's very difficult to recover from that. So he should be just about dead. And then of course you'll want to do the standard kill off Cloud and Sid, and then use Planet Protector on Aerith. If you're wondering why I changed up the position and moved all the characters around, it's because this is the order that worked best. He seemed to not attack the characters, or rather, he seemed to attack the characters that I wanted him to with this configuration, whereas if I put Eris in the middle, he would more than likely just kill her with double attacks. He seems to favor the far right position the least, instead choosing to go after the middle and the far left. That might just be an observational bias, but that's the way that it appeared in all the times that I was fighting him. So now that Sid is dead, we just have to get Cloud to die. And hopefully Aerith won't die first. I have her defend so that she takes less damage from his rock drops and all of his other attacks. So with that done, we'll Planet Protector it up and then kill him. And then thankfully this god-awful fight will be over, and we can escape from the Temple of the Ancients, but wouldn't you know it, unfortunately Cloud becomes possessed by Sephiroth and hands over the black materia to him so that he can summon Meteor and wound the planet. And then Aerith takes off, and we have to follow her to the City of the Ancients. And that's all for this episode, and I'll see you guys next time.